This is a video response to Eagle-Eye and his ramble on traditionalism and the MRM. His video is about an hour long, so there is heavy editing such as his spilling his fizzy drink and panting out of breath. Before I begin, I won't have as much time to make videos as I used to. I may therefore need to use text-to-speech in the future just to save time. Regardless, thanks for feedback and support.
And this is why I'm a traditionalist. Because, see, the way I see a lot of progressive MRAs going is, well, hey, you women are trying to lessen your gender-specific responsibilities while lessening the men's gender-specific privileges, right? Now, some feminists say that feminism is for men too, because if we fight against the patriarchy, then we're lessening the gender-specific male stuff as well. And, you know, that may well be. I think that's just a convenient excuse that they use to deflect criticism, because when was the last time you actually saw a feminist acting on behalf of men to remove their gender-specific responsibilities, really? When was the last time you saw that? So, but yeah, the thing I'm trying to point out here is that feminism and a good portion of the men's rights crowd are actually two sides of the same coin. And it saddens me that I'm realizing this so late. And this is one of the reasons I didn't really ever feel right in becoming a activist in terms of men's rights, you know, being an MRA. I think the men's rights crowd is suffering from a lot of the mission creep that feminism suffered through. And, you know, I think that's bad. That's pretty bad. Because you're going to end up with just another grievance group. And I don't want to be a member of a grievance group.
Wait, so you looked around the world, got screwed in the courts, and decided not to be an MRA because you didn't want to appear to be aggrieved. What sense does that make?
But anyway, the men's rights movement seeks to complete the process of feminism in a lot of ways, especially the anti-traditionalist side of men's rights. They want total equality, and it's never going to happen. It's never, ever, ever going to happen. I mean, even in 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 years, it's not going to happen. In order for it to happen, we would have to stop being a sexually dimorphic species. We would have to remove from women their privileged status as the natural childbearers. And we'd have to give to them the ability to inseminate another human being. It's a pipe dream. It's a fantasy land to think that you're ever going to make men and women into anything other than men and women. And I'm talking about across the whole of society. I'm talking about not just greater than 50%. I'm talking about the vast majority, 80 to 90% of humanity would need to become asexual, non-gendered, where everyone can be a man or a woman based on anything, whatever their whims happen to be.
Wait, what the hell am I listening to? You seem to think Paul Elam is some sort of Dr. Frankenstein working on a way to make sci-fi male-female hybrids. You are correct in that there is never going to be equality. Equality is a redundant term that is subject to whatever feminist of the day defines it as. I'm well aware of that, as are MRAs, so I'm not sure what MRAs you are talking about. There are, however, different meanings to the use of equality. You may not be able to get equality, but you can get equality within inequality. Take human rights, for instance. Giving each citizen the same rights is equality, even if the overall picture may be unequal. Furthermore, you can still renegotiate. For example, giving men longer paternity leave may not be equality, but it may be more efficient in a way for society to run if the stats and research back it up. It may also make men more happy, even if it's not equality.
See, people are misconstruing what it means to look for traditionalism or to be a traditionalist. And I think that's deliberate. It's a deliberate attack. And a lot of it has to do with they don't want traditionalism because then they would fail. Because then there would be expectations placed upon both sexes. They want a removal of all expectations. They want a removal of all responsibilities. And if that means a removal of all gender-based privileges as well, then so be it. Anything to remove responsibility from yourself is necessary. So that means throwing the baby out with the bathwater, then so be it, right? This is why I think I'm one of the only true men's rights activists. These other people are not activists for men's rights. They're activists for human rights in general. They want to make men non-gendered to match the non-genderedness of females. They want to bring men and women together as one clump of humanity and treat them all exactly the same. And I'm not talking about in terms of the law. Of course, we want men and women to be treated equally and fairly in the eyes of the law. What I'm talking about is more about the culture and society, how we look at men and women in society as being different and special and unique.
I'm confused at this point. First, you criticize the MRM for being for human rights in general, and imply this is a bad thing. But then you go on about how we are anti-traditionalist. What is wrong with men going for human rights? How does stopping male genital mutilation make men non-gendered? You also say that you want men to have equal rights under the law, but there is a contradiction here. If men have equal rights under the law, then your traditional structure is under threat, as it is a legal system that perpetuates traditionalism, such as giving the mother preferential treatment when it comes to custody. You can't have equality under the law and traditionalism, as traditionalists are by definition against change. It is the traditionalist judges that see the men as an ATM and the woman as a natural caregiver that perpetuates the problem that we have.
80% of men want to be the protector and provider for their women. Then in general, men want to be protectors and providers of women. The people who act as detractors of such a notion will then point to the 3% of women who want to be protectors and providers for their family and say, well, women want to do it too. I would call this the non-zero counterexample.
I'm confused at this point. First, you criticize the MRM for being for human rights in general, and imply this is a bad thing. But then you go on about how we are anti-traditionalist. What is wrong with men going for human rights? How does stopping male genital mutilation make men non-gendered. You also say that you want men to have equal rights under the law, but there is a contradiction here. If men have equal rights under the law, then your traditional structure is under threat, as it is a legal system that perpetuates traditionalism, such as giving the mother preferential treatment when it comes to custody. You can't have equality under the law and traditionalism, as traditionalists are by definition against change. It is the traditionalist judges that see the men as an ATM and the woman as a natural caregiver that perpetuates the problem that we have.